Good morning or good day. This is the 19th of December, so we are on the 19th chapter of Luke and our continuing discovery of Luke for our Christmas project for reading a chapter every day until we get to the 24th. And then the next day we can wake up and celebrate Christmas. 19th chapter to me seems to be it's a very serious chapter. And so I don't want you to just to cruise through it and just going, okay, that's great, because there are some things in here that's really concerning to Jesus and concerning to Christians. It talks about a lot of things concerning faithfulness in the first part of the chapter. And Jesus gives some examples of what a good servant is, what a good servant does, how they act, basically. And then he also says, but more than just how you act and stuff like that, you're going to be rewarded for how you use the gifts that the Lord has been giving you. And he has an example of a master who gives 10 cents or whatever to each to three different servants, and each of them comes back. When he comes back later, each of them present what they've done with that 3 cents to him. And two of them did very well. One of them really didn't do anything. And his excuse was that he was afraid that he would do something wrong and he would lose the master's money and the master would punish him for it. And the master basically told him, goes, and then, you, I'm going to judge you by what you said, because you said you know me very well. And if you know me very well, then you should know that I expect for you to be fruitful with what I give you. I expect you to be a good servant, a diligent servant. And because you weren't, I'm going to take that 10 cents from you and I'm going to give it to this one over here who was faithful and who demonstrated a true understanding of who I am and what I expect. And I think that we should take that to heart. That's a pretty good hard lesson. I tell you, there's some hard lessons here in Luke 19. And then it goes on and later in the chapter and it talks about the triumphant entry that Jesus made into Jerusalem. And you think, wow, man, that's got to be great, that everything's going to be, it's probably a high point in his day. But it actually wasn't. It actually wasn't. Because the scripture shares with us that Jesus cried. And he cried for Jerusalem. And he's, he gets going to him and he goes, I'll read right here in verse 42. It says, if thou hadst known, even thou, at this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now are they hid from thine eyes. He's like, if you only knew he was coming to see you, who was coming to visit you, if you only knew, if you could only see, then you see all these years of praying and waiting for me to come. I'm here, but you can't see. Right? There's all the religious leaders were blinded by their religiosity, right? They're doing the things that they got to do. They're studying so hard, looking so hard in the wrong places, and right there in front of them, right? Jesus said, "I'll knock at the door. I come quickly," and he did. He came right in the midst of his own people who were looking for him, and they didn't see him because they were looking in the wrong places. They're reading scripture incorrectly. They weren't in a relationship with God to where they could see it. Now, there are examples of scripture, one or two who did and who honored God. But for the overall of the nation, they didn't see it. And that's the way it's going to be also when Jesus comes back again for his second coming. When he comes back to claim his bride. People are going to be, as Jesus said, it's going to be just as like it was in the days of Noah. People laughing and drinking and giving in marriage. Same as in the days of Lot. As sudden destruction came upon them. Sudden destruction. And that's just the way it is. That's why I said this is a pretty hard chapter that goes through. Because here, Jesus makes a prediction. He says, for the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee around, and keep thee in one and every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children therein are within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone turned upon the other. because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. They didn't see the Lord coming. They didn't accept him. And because of this, the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD was a direct result of them not seeing Jesus. There's some direct results that come from us if we miss our opportunities. If we miss our opportunities for those who choose not to see Jesus, choose not to accept the gospel, there are some dire consequences for that. Destruction will come upon them. But even upon us, the children of God, if there are things that we fail to do, fail to see our opportunities that are given to us to move ahead in the name of the kingdom, then we're going to miss some opportunities, and it could have some dire consequences for people around us. So we all have a responsibility, and that's why we're here. So I just want to make sure that we understand that there are things that we need to do in preparing for the Lord. Before the Lord came, right, we had John the Baptist who led the way, declaring that the Lord was coming. That was his job. That was his function. And guess what? That's what your job is today too. Declaring that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's here now. It's here now. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is in your heart. And so the kingdom of heaven is here now, but it's going to come in another sense also later. But it may not be too much later. It could be today. So make sure you take advantage of the times you have. Be a good servant. Turn your 10 cents into 20, 30 cents. And always be prepared. Always be on the lookout for the Lord's coming. So we're getting ready for Christmas, and this is, I think, a great deal here. We learned some things about Jesus, about his compassion for Israel, his compassion for us, and the things that he expects us to do. All right? You have a great day.